My name is Christian Paulsen. I'm the Principal Product and Solution Security Officer for Siemens Mobility. Cybersecurity brings a lot of complexity with it. It's a thrilling, complex job that needs to be done, and it just goes from management tasks to technology and from the people side to complex processes as well. We need to make sure that the implementation is done in each and every project, in each and every product that we build. When we started with cybersecurity, we had three things in mind. That is people, products, processes. What we see now is that there are three other dimensions. The supply chain, so the depth of the supply chain needs to be looked at for cybersecurity. The second, the horizontal layer, is that the system have to be interoperable. They have to achieve a similar or same level of cybersecurity. And the third is the timeline. So our products in mobility tend to have a timeline of decades. You see a signaling system in field. That makes it complex and interesting to find solutions for this kind of questions. The use of rail is increasing across the world. What I like experiencing is overnight trains. The journey where you use the night time to span a long distance. And I experienced it even in China, between Beijing and Guangzhou in this case. We were traveling more than 2,000 kilometers in 10 hours, and that was pretty impressive.
Trains, safety, security, what would you look out for? I'm a lay person, I like trains, but I would probably look at, do the brakes work? Did they oil all the little cogs? And then sometimes you see them with the hammer, so are there any rusty bits? Yes, trains are heavy metal, but today trains are at least just as much software, really smart code. And that needs to be safe and secure as well. How do we ensure that? I'll talk about this with three experts. First one is Devina Pasta. Hi, great to have you, Devina.
Hi.
She's, hey, you're head of digital technology and innovation and strategy at Siemens Mobility. We also have Christian Paulsen here with me in the studio. Hi, Christian.
Hi,
great to have you here. Product and Solution Security Officer at Siemens Mobility. So coming more from a technical angle. And we have Zoran via Teams. Hi, Zoran.
Hello.
Hey, good to have you. So you're a cybersecurity business developer at Siemens Mobility, so helping customers, clients also understand what's the offering and how do I keep my train safe over the life cycle. Now, first picture, Christian. You can see it here. Do you remember when you saw it for the first time? Where were you? What did you feel?
It was 2017 roundabout, and I just woke up, checked the news on my tablet, and saw this ransomware, not ransomware, the WannaCry attack that happened to one of our esteemed customers. And the first feeling was the anxiety. Is it not only passenger information, but could other systems be affected? Could it be systems that we have supplied and that are maybe even safety related? So we checked immediately what the impact could be for us, and we're also ready to interact with the customer.
Okay.
So that was WannaCry 2017, yeah.
Okay, and it turned out they just wanted to extort money, but they could have hacked into systems that affect the lives of people. Devina, how has that event changed the way industry looks at cybersecurity and mobility?
Our customers in the mobility industry operate critical infrastructure. So none of us would want to be on a train where either the train or the rail infrastructure is hacked. That's why in this industry, we are confronted with specific laws and requirements, and strong ones in cybersecurity. And in addition to that, like we have seen in most other industries, because of COVID, we have increased and accelerated digitalization, which means there's also higher risk and also increased incidents within our industry. So we do have, in the recent past, quite a few incidents that have popped up within the mobility industry. And even if some of them are smaller incidents, the challenge is that they can affect the availability and reliability of transportation networks, which are key for the running of those environments. So critical infrastructure, digitalization, growing number of incidents affecting key KPIs for a transportation network. This means that cybersecurity is definitely more and more in focus for our customer, and more importantly, across the complete life cycle of the products, which means in our case, that can be 30 years or even longer for some products.
Okay, so a lot more awareness I hear from you, Devina, and it's also commercial aspects, right? Are my trains in service or are they out of service? But Christian, let me come back to the question of safety. Is rail travel safe and secure in 2021 today?
The rail industry comes from a very profound safety background, and in there the security aspects have already been looked at over the years. And there's also a very good link to the physical security aspects and the physical safety aspects. So the structures are there, but especially with more digitalization, more connectivity and use of commercial off-the-shelf equipment, we need to, and the industry needs to be ready for more cybersecurity.
Okay, so what I take from your answer is yes, because it's in the DNA of rail systems, but the target is moving. The bad people, they're just moving the boundaries a little bit.
And the public awareness of cybersecurity is rising, as Devina says. Legislation is kicking in. We have already the second round of critical infrastructure laws that we see in Europe and across the world, in US as well as in China.
So what specifically, also from a technical perspective, has the industry learned through WannaCry and similar incidents after?
We see more and more detailed requirements coming up now, and they are in tenders. We are responding to these requirements, and we have worked on our overall skill and awareness level, also including processes and preparing the whole organization to be ready for cybersecurity.
So it's important that many individuals do the right things, be it in service or be it when as we build and design these trains, but it matters a lot what's the tone from the top. And Devina, cybersecurity, it costs time, it costs money. We want to be very efficient. How do you motivate your teams to prioritize cybersecurity?
That's a great question. If you look at it in the mobility industry, we talk about digitalization and IoT is transforming the industry. And someone once said that IoT without security is the Internet of Threats. And that's what I keep reminding also my teams, saying digitalization done responsibly needs an awareness and treatment of all cyber risks. So cybersecurity is non-negotiable for us. It needs to be inherent, which means that we are working hard also to create a security culture where everyone lives cybersecurity and that it's one of our core capabilities. And of course, this also helps us create long-lasting relationships with our customers built on trust, which is really key for any relationship. And honestly, none of us can do it alone. So we do have a big community within Siemens Mobility, from product and solution security officers to information security environments, and also with our customers and the industry as a whole. We do spend a lot of time actually working with the industry to set standards, looking at also third-party certification. Internally, we do have a product security management system that we drive. And of course, we also focus on security by design and security by default, which makes cybersecurity then an inherent principle in your product development. To give you an example, I would like to highlight our solution security capability. What we have done is we have developed a cybersecurity approach for our projects, which results in risk assessment across all the subsystems and assets, meaning not just specific products, but we cover the complete chain of control systems, train operator systems, passenger information systems, and so on. And as the risk environment is constantly changing, we further support this through the complete life cycle. This approach is one of the largest scopes that has ever received an IEC 62443 certification. So kudos to the team for that. And this shows how we are living cybersecurity. And also having this certificate demonstrates that, yes, firstly, we have developed the right approach, but it also gives our customers and the industry the assurance and confidence in our capabilities.
Okay, you say we have the right approach. Ultimately, the customers decide whether it's the right approach. Can you give us an example? Who uses this approach, who benefits from it?
We have quite a few good customer examples. Just picking one, for example, the Norway project, where we are revamping the signaling infrastructure. And there we are implementing the first nationwide rail automation project according to 62443, aiming at a security level 3. And it goes into operation next year. We have also contracted cybersecurity services for 25 years. So we are accompanying Baninor with cybersecurity along the entire lifecycle of our solution, which is what I mentioned before regarding supporting the customer and our solution across the complete lifecycle. And this is exactly what helps build trust and also sets the foundation for us to be a long-term partner for our customers, which is really key within the cybersecurity world, because this is what customers look for when they're looking for cybersecurity solutions, a long-term partner.
When I buy something which is meant to last 20, 25, 30 years, I usually have a lot of questions. Christian, when customers ask you what are the smartest questions you've ever been asked when they look at systems with this lifespan?
Yeah, in former times we heard questions in the area of people, namely awareness and training, processes and products. But now we also hear questions like, how do you deal with the supply chain? How do you make sure that all the components and subsystems you buy in are secure? How do you make sure that the interoperability between security of different subsystems they also buy from different vendors fit with each other? So standardization of interfaces plays a role here. And then, as we heard with Devina, the 25 years, 30 years of life cycle, how do we keep a system secure over the long duration? So these three new aspects have a higher priority in these days.
So what I hear from you is, one, we're delivering you something great and there's no hidden risk that we just bought from someone else.
Right.
Two, we're with you in the long run. We won't let you down.
Right.
And also any system plays nicely with the other ones. Right.
We know that the other systems, they have to operate, and we have to make sure that this whole ecosystem of assets that they run are secure in a proper way.
So very broad offering, a big promise towards customers. And we have one guy here who has to deliver, and that's Zoran. Zoran, you're a consultant for cybersecurity for very large projects in the railway industry. How do you genuinely slip into the shoes of the customers?
Yeah, first we need to understand that you cannot protect what you don't know and don't understand. And Siemens Mobility supplies all elements of a railway, and therefore we understand each asset and its protocols, its weaknesses. And it is a complex and a very specific environment, which includes both IT and OT equipment. We also constantly analyze the threat landscape, which is evolving very fast. And we correlate all this information to design the cybersecurity solution that can keep all risks under control. And that is exactly what customers need: a complete view on their assets and their risks, and appropriate level of protection everywhere.
Complete cybersecurity approach, what exactly does that mean?
So the first thing that I'm thinking of is a chain analogy. You know, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. So we need to ensure that our customer's environment is protected from every attack vector. And only one weak point can open the whole system to the attacker. So that is why we need a holistic approach to reduce both risks and costs of cybersecurity solutions for our customers.
But so honestly, I mean, the complexity is mind-boggling. We'll later hear how many hundreds of components, and then is it truly, from your own experience, is it enough what we're doing to grasp that complexity with and for clients?
Yes, you're completely right. So cybersecurity business is growing fast, and its complexity is growing very fast. And it is, of course, expected because of digitalization in the railway, as well as recent events with regards to attacks to critical infrastructure that we see around the globe. Also, customers' requirements are increasing, and we see it in upcoming tenders. A few years ago, we had few sentences about cybersecurity, and nowadays we have more than 100 pages about cybersecurity. And also, regulatory requirements are increasing too. So in order to address this growing complexity that you mentioned and to be successful with it, we need to understand one very important thing, and that is that cybersecurity is not a one-off. It is not a single project. It is an ongoing, never-ending process of improvement with 4 major steps. First one is identification of your assets and related risks to those assets. The second one is protection. So this is the moment when you install mechanisms to lower those risks and lower them to acceptable level or to the level which can be transferred for somebody else. Then we have third part, which is very important, and sometimes it is not in focus of our customers. It is an incident detection. So even the best protection can fail sometime. And then we need to identify or to detect that incident instantly to lower the possible impacts to our business. Then when we detect incident, we have respond and recovery procedures to minimize the negative impact. This never-ending process with 4 major steps is helping us to stay ahead of the bad guys in this cat-and-mouse game that we are in.
I get it. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work for Siemens, for customers, but the proof lies in the pudding. So, Christian, honestly, among us, have there been attacks on Siemens rail infrastructure, rail technology?
There have been incidents of different sorts, of different sizes, and we have always been able to manage these incidents in a professional way with our own computer emergency response teams and our product cert. So we have a very good background and capability to deal with incidents, and that can go up to major incidents or even crises. So we are prepared for these situations as well.
So I understand, yes, there are attacks. However, the impact so far, luckily no worst case loss of life or severe safety issues.
No, there have not been these kinds of impacts that we have seen. And we are prepared for cybersecurity incidents of different sizes. We have our product cert team, we have our cert team, and we are interacting with each other to be there also in case of customer incidences and if the customer needs us.
So sounds like, okay, everything under control, we lean back.
Well, leaning back is not a good option in cybersecurity. So you should keep training things. You should also have auditing regimes where either third party or our own internal audit teams are checking whether we are prepared and whether we are doing our cybersecurity tasks well. And yes, then it's like homework to clean up things that they might have found and prepare us even better for the future.
Now, we'll meet a lot of your colleagues and we'll learn about their homework, as you call it. What should we expect in this episode? Who else is joining?
Yeah, the next 3 parts you will meet our colleague from Rolling Stock, that is Krishna. He will present what he has done on the cybersecurity for trains. Then you'll meet Andres and Rua, who are in rail infrastructure. And last but not least, our service colleagues Svantje and Michael, who are caring for cybersecurity along the life cycle when it's in operation. So no one can do cybersecurity alone, and it's a distributed activity across mobility. And I have a lot of good friends and brilliant colleagues who are caring for it.
So thank you very much, and I'm super curious to meet all of them, because what I learned from our panel today is that the threats that you see, like the hammer that shows you there's a rusty part, yes, they are important, they stay important. But because software is an ever larger part in trains and railway infrastructure, that's where we need to look more carefully and at every step of the way. So super keen to meet all of your colleagues and your friends that you're working with, and big thanks to all of you joining, Devina, Zoran and Christian. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Andreas.